All right, hey, what's up, everybody? Mike Lindsley back with you for an ML Sports take of 9 minutes with me and apparently this guy, Cooper. It's all brought to you by Empower Federal Credit Union, Bryant and Stratton College, and Heights of Liverpool. If you are in and around Central New York, make sure you get to Heights of Liverpool for absolutely positively the best hot dogs you will ever eat off the grill. Heights of Liverpool is a proud sponsor of the ML Sports Platter. Well, the Houston Astros got the hammer put down by Major League Baseball, and then Jim Crane, the owner, he ends up firing both manager A.J. Hinch and general manager Jeff Luhnow. Where do we go from here? We'll get to that in just a little bit. But here's the big thing. They lost draft picks. The manager and A.J. Hinch and, of course, Luhnow and the general manager, they were suspended a full year by Major League Baseball, and then they fined them the top amount of $5 million, which is obviously a drop in the bucket. The whole thing's ridiculous. The big thing by Major League Baseball was obviously the suspension of both the manager and the general manager. But then Jim Crane, the owner, said, we're going to take this thing one step further, and he fires them both. And then, of course, the day after, the Red Sox come out with a statement about parting ways with manager Cora and all the rest, which is horseshit. Obviously, they fired the guy. There's no question about it. They didn't want to move on with him either. And he seemed to be the biggest playmaker in this whole thing. Because remember, he was a bench coach for the Astros, and he was probably one of the ones helping to transmit signals. Now, what I want to get off my chest in this video right away is there seems to be some confusion amongst people in the national media, amongst fans, amongst writers, amongst everybody, that this whole thing is going on all across baseball. Sign stealing, electronics, this and that. Hold the phones, man. Time out. There's absolutely positively sign stealing going on. There's been sign stealing going on since the beginning of time in baseball. And you know what? I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with tipping signs. I don't have a problem with tipping pitches. In fact, I don't have a problem with anything that is an indirect, unwritten rule of baseball or of sports in general. That includes inflating or deflating balls. That includes a situation with pine tar. Just don't show it on your arms and your neck and your hat, Michael Pineda. Anything that basically is an indirect, unwritten rule of sport, I don't really care, because it becomes a feel thing, and there's nobody that's really gotten into the Hall of Fame by putting a little pine tar on the bottom of their brim of the cap or a little bit of pine tar on a bat. And if you get away with it, it's not like you hit three, you can't cheat your way to 3,000 hits. You can't cheat your way to 9 Super Bowl appearances and 6 wins if you're the New England Patriots. That's why I never had a problem with Spygate, or with Deflategate. I did have a problem with Spygate, but that's not what this video is about. This video is about the Astros and cheating, and the fact that what they are doing is completely different than just normal tipping of the pitches. For example, if you look at the Houston Astros, let's say in a regular season game or even a playoff game against the New York Yankees, let's say that they're playing against Luis Severino, and they notice that he does this and then itches his neck right here, and then he goes right to the baseball and throws it. Let's say 3-4 times in a row, it's a curveball. No, he's tipping his pitches, right? He's making signs in order to do that. There's been sign stealing from the beginning of time, as I mentioned, from the dugout, from center field, from the shortstop position, all over the place, the catcher position. Signs get stolen all the time. To me, it doesn't matter. You still got to hit the ball. In fact, remember the 3-game playoff in 1951 where it was the Giants and the Dodgers, and of course it came down to that one game at the Polo Grounds. Bobby Thompson goes bye-bye off of Ralph Branca. Well, there's a million storylines out there with Matt Dahlgren and company, books that have been written about that somebody was using a little telescope looking right through that little pole and got right on all the way down to home field. And basically, something happened with a body motion, and the Giants knew that Bobby Thompson also knew that the pitch was going to be, I don't know, I guess it was a belt-high fastball, but he knew that it was coming, and he hit it out. Good for him. I couldn't care less. You could go up to someone. Garrett Cole could go up to Mike Trout at the beginning of the game and go, hey, buddy, here's what I'm going to do. The first at-bat for you, I'm going to throw you my 3 hardest four-seam fastballs. Literally, I'm going to throw as hard as I can. 98, 99, 100, 101, 102. They're going to come in there that fast in that range of miles per hour. I'm going to throw them. All you have to do is hit it. And at that point, it becomes a battle of man against man, testosterone against testosterone. If you can hit it, if you can hit it, great. If you can't, you can't. And so I don't really mind the sign stealing, the tipping of the pitches, and all the rest. That's an indirect situation. The Houston Astros have basically done unprecedented cheating, in my opinion, because the electronic part of this is really the difference maker. And it's not just electronic video. It's not just an electronic thing used pregame to look at pitches and such, to zoom in. All Major League Baseball teams have electronics. For Christ's sake, it's 2020. We're in an analytic computer video world in terms of the game today. In fact, in terms of sports, this is different because here's the reason why. The Houston Astros basically had a camera in center field at their home ballpark. They were getting signs quickly as they zoomed in. That camera would then transmit signs to another camera right in the tunnel just outside the dugout in the lower bowls of the stadium. And then from there, Alex Cora, another player, perhaps both, that was when they would ring the steel can, and then the batter would hear it. Now, I do think that there is some kind of humor in this whole thing where, look, if there's 52,000 screaming fans in the ballpark, how in God's name do you hear a steel can hit 3 times for a breaking ball? How do you hear it twice for a fastball? How do you hear it 4 times for a 12-6 buckle curve? I'm not really sure, but they did make it happen. Now, a lot of people are like, well, hey, the Dodgers, should you have a bone to pick? Should be really mad if you're the Dodgers. Of course you should. What about the New York Yankees? For Christ's sake, the Yankees lost 2 ALCSs to the Houston Astros in 2017 and just this past year in 19. Did Aroldis Chapman smile when Jose Altuve hit the walk-off home run in Game 7? Because he knew what actually was coming. Did Jose Altuve know what was coming? And that's why Chapman turned and was just like, what the hell, man? I just threw that pitch, and he basically hit it flawlessly. How is that possible? Did he know that it was coming? Perhaps he did. What about 2017 when the Yankees lost all 4 games in Houston? And also, does Joe Girardi still have his job with the Yankees, considering that New York would have gone to the World Series and perhaps won the whole darn thing? That's a whole other conversation for another day. But you can see the fallout from this kind of stuff, the questions that start to get asked. When I take a look at this Houston Astros thing, this is really serious shit, man. This is really, really, really arrogant garbage. And remember, MLB warned the Red Sox with that Apple Watch sort of thing. They were using technology and stealing signs and relaying pitches ahead of time and all that. They warned everybody in Major League Baseball, look, if you do anything after this, you're going to face the consequences. And basically Houston said, psh, whatever, we're still going to do it. We're smarter than you. And oh, by the way, Houston has become just a group of collective assholes to begin with. When you think about the assistant GM talking to the female reporters, talking down to them in the clubhouse. You talk about AJ Hinch talking about how they're the best team in baseball and we're going to win the whole thing and here's how. You talk about their arrogant general manager. No more, of course, I get it. No more manager either. But they've been a bunch of arrogant pricks the entire way as well. And they've denied a lot of it leading up to it when they're getting questioned about it. So, look, this whole thing really pisses me off. This is really, really dirty. I hope this is it. I hope Rob Manfred in baseball now says, screw it. We're getting rid of all the video. We're getting rid of all the electronics inside the ballpark. That's it. The only thing you can do is use electronics and video on your own time in terms of scouting from a game-to-game basis. And oh, by the way, my final thought process on this unprecedented cheating with electronics for the Houston Astros, I actually think Major League Baseball could have gone harder. I know that most people out there think that the Astros got exactly what they deserved, and Major League Baseball should be applauded for dropping the hammer like that. I think they could have done a lot more. I think they should have taken 4 picks from the Astros, suspended them for 2 years. It doesn't matter now because they obviously got fired by the owner, Jim Crane, but you get the point. The initial penalty to me should have been 2 years for the manager, 2 years for the general manager, and of course 4 draft picks, and that $5 million cap being the highest that you can find a baseball team. Bunch of bullshit. That's only a couple hours in beer sales at a ballpark. I think that rule should have been changed upwards of $15 to $20 million in terms of getting fined. I think the Astros actually got off easy, but their owner didn't let them get off easy. He just freaking canned everybody. We'll see what happens from here on out. We know Alex Cora got canned by the Boston Red Sox. We'll see if this is going on anywhere else in Major League Baseball, but it was unprecedented because of the electronic level of usage and cheating by the Astros.